There have been many hints that William is the Man in Black, but some people still think Logan is. They have good reasons, so I'm not saying it's impossible, but in this video, I'm going to list out 8 hints that we got which suggest that William becomes the Man in Black. In episode 1, the Man in Black asked Dolores, "Is that any way to treat an old friend? I've been coming here 30 years. You still don't remember me, do you?" It is pretty clear that the Man in Black has known Dolores 30 years, so this would suggest that he is either William or Logan, but the rest of the hints are pretty specific to William. For much of the show, people argued that the Man in Black is more similar in his actions to Logan, but after episode 9 it doesn't seem that way. Logan is merely playing a game for the fun of it. Sure, William started out a little clueless, but in episode 9 we saw the first signs of him learning how to truly play the game, and this was foreshadowed in episode 7 when Lawrence told William, "Seems like you're not what you thought you were. You're more cut out for this than you think." His friendship with Lawrence is also a big hint. At one point, the Man in Black tells Lawrence, "I know exactly who you are, Lawrence. You and I are old friends." And he also said, "I've always enjoyed our time together, Lawrence." Based on what we've seen so far, as well as the trailer for episode 10, this is a big sign that the Man in Black is William, not Logan, because William and Lawrence have shared some quality time together in season 1. Another sign is related to William's journey of self-discovery. Logan hasn't changed that much. In episode 9, he won over some fans by showing some good traits to his character, by forgiving Billy and being excited to be his brother-in-law, so we learned something new about him, but the park didn't change him. On the other hand, episode 9 showed us that the park has definitely had an effect on William. This type of changing character ties into a line he told Lawrence early in the season. "You don't understand, Lawrence. I've been coming here 30 years, ever since I was born here." And that journey of self-discovery is also highlighted by Ford, who told the Man in Black, quote, "Far be it from me to get in the way of a voyage of self-discovery." Now let's pretend William is the Man in Black. Something happens in the finale which causes him to change his view of Dolores. He spends most of his life not thinking about her, or trying to free her. It is not until he has a revelation when he sees Maeve as truly alive that he realizes he may have been right all along. He is back to fulfill fate, which ties into Dolores' famous line, "There's a path for everybody, and your path leads back to me." And as we know, the Man in Black won't be leaving this time, as he said to Lawrence, "This time, I'm never going back." One of the biggest signs comes during the Man in Black's conversation with Ford. Ford says, "I admit, I lack the imagination to even conceive of a character such as you. The agency, however, doesn't quite fit the character. It betrays a certain anxiety." What he is saying here is that the Man in Black, or the character the Man in Black, doesn't have anxiety, but the agency, his true self, actually does experience anxiety. So who else have we met that has social anxiety? If you go back to episode 2, we get a big hint that William has social anxiety. Angela asked him that as they're going up the escalator, and instead of answering, he got pretty defensive. And lastly, there's that hat tip by both William and the Man in Black. This actually ties into another video I'm doing which lists out evidence that Teddy is a character loosely based off of William. So some people argue that Logan cutting open Dolores ties in with the line the Man in Black told Teddy, that one time, in the past, he cut open a host and saw millions of little parts. But keep in mind, in episode 9, William dismantled dozens of hosts. And people will also argue that William carries the same knife as the Man in Black. But I left this off the list because most guests probably carry around some sort of a knife. Granted, once we find out that William is the Man in Black, I think William's use of the knife can be looked at as foreshadowing. But I guess I'm waiting for him to toss it up in the air the way the Man in Black does. Before wrapping this up, let's try to speculate on episode 10 based off of some other lines. Dolores tells Teddy, who we think is based off of William, that, quote, "My daddy still won't be happy to see you." And the Man in Black told Dolores, "Your daddy gave it up quickly." These two lines have me excited for a wild scene at Dolores' ranch in the finale, involving her father. Hopefully, we will see William drop the photo so we can scratch that one off of our list. And as I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to be putting up a separate video today as my first giveaway, both as a thank you for chatting with me all season, but also as a plug for my buddy's podcast, The Hands-On Podcast by Dan and Jim Miller. So hit subscribe if you want to see that video. For now, this is Kev. I'll talk to you soon. I'm out.